there's a lot on the line here. I think for different reasons. I think for Ohio State, you are still playing to get to a Big Ten championship. Because if Washington loses and you lose, then the Wolverines go. So, but I mean, you have Ohio State playing for that. Even more so, you're playing for pride right now. When you're the Wolverines, you're playing for pride. You're also playing for a possible chance at a Big Ten championship and a chance to go to the playoffs, which also gives you a chance to win a national championship. So, what are your thoughts on on the pressure for these teams and what they have to play for?
I think that everything you said is like completely accurate to a T, where Michigan is playing for really its pride in the playoffs because a lot has to go their way. Like they have to beat Ohio State and Washington has to beat Oregon. And the odds of that happening are just very, very small.
Yeah.
So they're playing for the playoffs. They're playing for pride. They're playing for really a chance to like define their season as a total success. Whereas if they go 9-3 and lose to Ohio State, I don't know if it would be fair to say the season's a total failure, but you definitely couldn't call it a success. So it's that weird limbo that you don't want to have. For the Buckeyes, it's pride. It's the Big Ten championship. It's also their toughest game of the year in my mind. Mm-hmm. Like Michigan is either the best or second best team they'll play. It's also on the road. Michigan has probably the best offense that they've played from a matchup angle. You know, Texas has had kind of a rough offense. Arch in week 1 is not as good as I think Bryce is in week 14. I actually do think Manning right now is better than Bryce right now, but like week 1 Manning was a like
week 1 Bryce. Week 1 I would have taken Bryce over. Week 1 I would have taken Bryce over him.
Yeah.
I probably would now.
Yeah, I mean it's a game where if they lose, the entire world, where, you know, like with ESPN, they've been waiting to anoint someone else number 1. I mean, everyone's going to say, well, it was the biggest game of the year and you just lost it. Like, how can we trust you? And it's also the part of the playoffs where I think they're a lock to get a first round bye. And I know they're a lock to get to the playoffs, but there is a world where, you know, you got 13-0 Indiana, 12-1 Texas Tech, maybe 11-1 Georgia, or 12-1 Georgia plays a 12-0 A&M, and you have 4 teams with 12 or more wins who've all played in conference titles, and Ohio State's at 11-1 with a weaker SOS, and they haven't played there. Well, now maybe you have to play an extra game. So there's a lot on the line here for sure.
I wanted to first talk to you about the position breakdown and who has the advantage where. Because I wasn't sure. Did you see what I had posted?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So just for a reminder for everybody, if you didn't see it on X, if you're not on X, I gave Ohio State every single position except what was it? Running back. I think I did. I think I gave Ohio State every single position except for running back. My question to you though, and also I also don't want you to give up too much tea, man. I want you to be able to make sure you have. I know you have enough to talk about for your show, but what where do you think position wise the Wolverines have the advantage, or where do you think it's probably like a tie?
Would it be more interesting to add in where they could have the advantage? Because we know Ohio State's the better team, so they're going to have it at more positions, usually at least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll go with that too. We'll start with where I think.
Well, except in 2023, I don't.
Oh yeah, well, Michigan was like my opinion on that game is always that Ohio State was actually fortunate to be in that game that late, but they played well, almost won, just didn't pan out.
That's life of Kyle McCord.
Yep. With definitive advantages, I will say running back. That's kind of it. Now, if Marshall doesn't play, then I think Ohio State has the edge. But if Marshall plays, I think that he's the best running back right now for both teams. And I think Kuzdal's good enough to have like a good 1-2 punch. Outside of that, you move to pushes, or maybe on that given day, Michigan could happen to be better. I would give edge a push. I mean, Derek Moore, and it's funny, Derek Moore and Caden Curry, like, both have way more sacks than Reuben Bain Jr., but I wouldn't take any over Reuben Bain Jr. It's just kind of like the stat guys who are really good and have production, but then there are some other guys who are just like just have that impact and get double teamed a bunch. Jackson has performed well, but so has Barham when healthy and when he's put at edge. D tackle I would give to Ohio State, just because of McDonald. Linebacker I'd give to Ohio State. DB I would. O-line. I
had a Wolverine fan tell me earlier that that you guys are better at linebacker. Oh man, I'm like, man, like, what are you watching now?
No. I do think that Michigan at linebacker, it could play well enough to where on Saturday, in just a random case scenario, they could maybe match the play. But based on what we've seen, like, they're definitely not better. And at the very best case scenario, they're going to play at a similar level. And that's best case scenario.
You think Jimmy Roller can play at the same level as Arvell Reese?
No. But I think that Cole Sullivan's like really good and Houseman's really good. And sometimes people just Houseman?
Yeah.
I would think so. I'm kind of treating all the injuries that aren't known to be season ending as if they're going to play. So I think Tate and Smith are a lock to play, for example.
I thought, okay, because I heard a rumor that this had nothing to even do with the injury for Houseman.
Huh.
That had to do with more of like his faith and things of that nature and helping people. That's why I've kind of stayed away. That's why I haven't talked, because I heard that rumor. I can't confirm it. That's why I kind of stayed away from talking about it, because I said, if that's the case, man, he's probably doing something much bigger than football.
Yeah,
I didn't. But no, I mean, Ernest Houseman, Ernest is really good. I like Ernest. And Cole Sullivan, I'll tell you what, true freshman, right? I had no idea. I think Cole Sullivan's the best linebacker on your team.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think he's really good. Like, while we're here, like, let's talk about the defense. Let's talk about Ohio State's defense against the Wolverines' offense here, quick. I'm gonna start with the D line. Now, though I do think we have a better defensive line this year. I do believe so, and I think that if you told anybody Ohio State's defensive tackle room would be deeper than you guys's, I don't think any of us would have. We'd probably sit here and say, "Come on, bro." I mean, during the offseason, saying, I think you kind of saw that. Me personally, I don't know what you think. I think our defensive tackle room has been better. Time. I don't think there's a defensive tackle on your team that will start for us. I truly believe that.
No, I probably would agree with that too. Deeper, I haven't seen enough to tell which is deeper, but I know that Ohio State's starters, mostly because of McDonald, are better. I know that.
Well, I'll tell you. So Edric Houston throughout the season, because Edric is kind of like a crash out kid and does dumb stuff on the field. So like hit people in their faces when we have an interception. But he lost his spot to Tom Malone. I don't know if you remember Tom Malone, transferred from Ole Miss. Actually played college baseball too. Be kind of crazy seeing a D tackle doing that, but he has definitely been the second best on there. And You have PFF, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at guys like Will Smith Jr., I think he's played well when able to. Jason Moore, he gets in here and there, maybe a snap or two a game, but he's played well. But it was amazing to me about how that is, because I think coming against you guys in your run game, that's where it needs to start.
Yeah, I was thinking about this today, and I don't know. Part of it's based on the Penn State game that Ohio State played in. But Michigan has moved definitely more to they've had more outside zone this year than they have in several years. And one thing where I don't think Ohio State is as good at end this year as last year, like pass rush maybe. But one thing that was really underappreciated about Sawyer and JTT that you saw against Notre Dame, for example, and Notre Dame loves outside zone, is they were really good at like stopping the run and just shutting it down from the get-go on the outside. And I wonder if, because I know Michigan will want to run, they're not realistically going to win pass heavy. There's a difference between that and keeping the defense honest, of course, but I wonder if they fail to run on the inside, if maybe they can get some of the outside stuff going. It's going to be tricky because I still think Ohio State's DNs are really good and their linebackers are among the nation's best. But it is interesting because on one hand, in theory, Ohio State could hold Michigan to single digits with points. But on the other hand, Michigan's offense has shown remarkable improvement from where it was last year. They actually have athletes, and their offensive line is way better than it was last year. Like they're way, when they played Ohio State last year compared to what their roster should be on Saturday, they're better in just about every position by a good chunk, or it's night and day different. So I think there's a lot of variance in that matchup where Ohio State could either dominate or they trade blows and Michigan maybe gets enough points to eke out a win.